What's up everyone, James here, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at all my aquariums, so a bit of a tank tour. I've had quite a few people message me recently requesting you know, sort of to do a bit of a tour around my aquariums. I think the last time I did one was like April last year or something around that line, so it's way overdue. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got. Alright. So these are my aquariums. So let's start right at the very top to the left. This is my planted cherry shrimp tank called Shrimp Rock that I created over a year ago now, and it has a Nano classic LED light running on it. In the back there's a sponge filter, a heater, some various different bits and pieces, but you've obviously got the Java moss here, some rocks, a bit more Java moss, Simon's 53B, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce the red plant there, but yeah, it's a really good plant and I love it. And also a bit of duckweed on there as well. So in terms of the tank itself, like I said, we've got lots of cherry shrimp in there. There's a lot of babies in there at the moment, or shrimplets. A lot of the shrimp in here, I try and aim for a higher grade, so I tend to take a lot of the shrimp out of here that are a slightly lower grade and put them into my big planted aquarium right at the bottom, which we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, most of the shrimp in here are either Bloody Mary, Red Fire. I even had some Rillies in there at some point, some red Rillies. Yeah, and they're doing really well. In terms of feeding, I feed these shrimps lots of different things, from shrimp lollies to pollen to fruits like bananas, grapes, watermelon I've fed, lots of different things like that. Shrimp pellets I've fed as well, and even mice shrimp as well, which they will take very well, and bloodworms. So yeah, they enjoyed it really well there. Yeah, so it's a really nice aquarium. I think it's coming on really well now. I'm really happy with the layout or the scape, or whatever you want to call it. So I think that I'm going to keep it this way for the foreseeable. I have no plans to change it. Yeah, so I really like it, and like I said, I'm getting some really nice shrimps out of it in terms of you know, babies and stuff. Everybody's loving life in there, so yeah, nothing to change really. I don't see a need to. Okay, moving to the right then, we have my Nano shrimp aquarium. I've got the Asta Lumina 20 as a marine LED light, you know, aimed at good coral growth and stuff, so you get a nice ultraviolet. I've currently got it on the UV setting now. I tend to have that on there quite a lot of the time, just because I think it looks really nice with the corals. I've got my cleaner shrimp up on the left there, or skunk shrimp as people call them. I've got a couple of chromis in there, green chromis, there's them too. A clownfish, and my Banggai cardinal, which is the first marine fish I ever got. Yeah, so I love them. Just FYI, if you're wondering why there's so many fish in such a small aquarium, check back on a video I did a couple of weeks ago about the reasons for it. It's a temporary holding tank until I can sort out the bigger one that I had them in. In terms of corals, I have a few different ones in here. I've got green star polyp. It's just typical that this GSP fell, or my shrimp and a couple of hermit crabs that I've got in there keep climbing on it, and I haven't glued it down, so it keeps knocking. So I picked it up and put it back on there, and it's only just starting to open up again. It was really opened up earlier, but yeah, it's just a little bit sulking. So but I fragged another little piece of GSP there, and I did a video on that, and that's doing really well at the moment. As you can see, the polyps are opened up really well. I've got some granny apple zoas in the back there, that's the green ones. Some Sunny D zoas there, There is bam bams, but they're covered in algae at the moment, which I know is going to really upset most reefers, and because some more so is in the back there. If you're wondering what the plant is, that's called Calepa prolifera. It was doing really well again in my bigger reef tank, but then I moved it to this one, and yeah, it sort of melted away a little bit and has started growing back, but it goes a bit sort of feral and decides to grow everywhere. But yeah, I quite like it. In terms of like maintenance and stuff, I'm trying these days to just do top offs and stuff, because yeah, just I think it's gotten to the point now where I can get away with you know, just doing bits and top offs and you know, on the aquarium, and yeah, it seems to be doing all right. As I said, most people would freak out about the algae on it, but before you freak out, go and do your research and check out the reefs and see if you know, there is any algae in nature, because I'm sure there is. And as you can see, I've got a Halloween hermit crab there. He's currently admiring a shell. In terms of filtration, I run a hang on back filter by All Pond Solution. That's a dual chamber one, so currently it's still got just 2 sponge filters in, and it seems to be doing nice. Sometimes I put a piece of filter floss in there just if it's getting a bit too messy, and yeah, I've got a power head in there as well. But that's it in terms of filtration. So all you beginners out there and stuff, you can do it on a budget, and this is proof that it does work, and you don't have to spend lots of money on it. If you want to, you know, sort of more evidence or whatever, go and check out my video series I did on this budget reef tank. Yeah, because hopefully it's worth checking out. So as we move down, we come to this bowl here. Now, I'm sure the last time that you saw this was a botanical bowl, but yeah, it didn't work out, unfortunately. Putting a load of botanicals in a bowl with, or a very small bowl should I say, with no filtration or surface agitation or any movement at all, tends to create a really bad stink. And yeah, especially if you like sulfur or that smell, or the smell of rotten eggs, then yeah, definitely just stick a load of botanicals in a bowl and see what happens. But yeah, it didn't work out, but that's fine. I've got ideas for another project later on, but for now, yeah, I just have a aloe vera plant. I took some cuttings off one that I had in my living room, and yeah, just made a little bowl for it. Yeah, so it's doing really well. Moving down, we come to my natural Amazonian styled aquarium. Now this one's a nightmare in terms of lighting, so I do apologize if you see a lot of glare on this one. I'll try and keep it as far back. I might have to switch some lights off. Right, there we go. My reef tank causes a lot of light. Yeah, so this is the aquarium. It's doing so well at the moment. It's definitely my favorite aquarium of all that I've got. I've tried to recreate some of the sort of things that you might see in a Amazon river, with the botanical bed there, and some driftwood, and you know, the sort of the cover of the plants there. That big plant, if anyone's wondering, is Amazon sword. There is a bit of Java moss somewhere in the back there, but yeah, that's about it really. I tend to use lots of different botanicals. I'm sure you've seen me posting about them all the time, from various different places. I've got aldecones in there, jackfruit leaves, various pods, seed pods, yeah, lots of other bits and pieces in there as well. So in terms of filtration, I have a sponge filter here. It's one of these like dual ones and that just causes a tiny bit of surface agitation on the surface there, because you don't really want too much for the type of fish that I've got. So in terms of the actual stock itself, I've got hatchet fish. I've got 2 there, and there is a marbled hatchet in the back there. He likes to hide around there. I think he thinks it's safer. I have 3 rummy nose tetras, there they are, and I have 2 neon tetras in there as well. Yeah, and I have don't know if you can see them in this light, but there is Panda Corydoras in here. Now I started with 3 Panda Corydoras and I have probably about 12 now. It's really cool because sometimes you see them sort of shoaling or schooling together, and it's awesome. You kind of see them like waving across the aquarium. Obviously they're bottom dwellers, but it's really cool when you get to see them all like schooling together. And obviously you see that natural behavior there when they're digging through the botanicals, rummaging for food. And I've seen them lay eggs in the botanicals themselves and under leaves and stuff. So it's one of the many benefits of creating a sort of, or try to replicate the more natural habitats that you'd see these animals in, as opposed to having, you know, colourful gravel and fake plants and stuff. These are the kind of sort of benefits that you get really. With regards to lighting, I'll just open the hood. I'm just using the standard lighting that was in here. Now as you can see, I've added an additional LED light there. This one was one I had kicking around from an old aquarium, but the reason I'm not using the light in the front there is not because it doesn't work, it's just because it's a blue light and I just don't like the color. So I think that adding that additional light at the back there, and I've sort of pointed it downwards a bit, gives a really nice backlight to the aquarium, so it lights it really nicely there. And yeah, that's what I do there. Okay, moving on down, we have my planted aquarium. So the actual aquarium itself is from Tetra. It was the sort of second aquarium that I ever bought. Well, technically the first one I bought. The first one I actually did have was a birthday present, but this is the aquarium at the moment. I try to, well, you've seen a few videos, I guess, if you've watched my channel on the aquascape itself and how I've never been quite happy with how it was. But yeah, I'm pretty chuffed now. I did a water change yesterday and did a bit of a trim, so it's looking a bit bare in places again, but I'm hoping that it's going to sort of bulk out better in the long run. And I've moved some of my red plants that were sort of struggling to get any light and they were dying off. I've put them there, so I'm going to trim them up later on and see if I can get some better growth from them there. As you can see, I've got some river stones, and this is just a perfect example of how different Corydoras behave when they're not, when you don't replicate the natural environments. Because as you can see, I've got albino cories here, and they do move around, but they're a lot more sort of docile than the ones in the top there that are generally active, constantly rummaging through all that leaf litter and botanicals. I changed the filtration in this not so long back, so last time people saw this I did have a big filter here, but I changed it with this one again from All Pond Solutions. It's a bit more of a, it's got a spray bar, so it just pushes the, or creates a bit more surface agitation, because I think that I was getting yeah, just not enough movement on the top there. The CO2 wasn't getting pushed around the aquarium as well as I'd like it to. Not that that sort of diffuser in the back there really does much good, to be honest. I do need to change that out for a stone again, but yeah, it's not too bad. Algae is growing all over the place. My favorite thing is on my driftwood. I had a lot of people commenting on my Instagram page the other day about that I should put some driftwood in, but if anybody can see this, there's a huge piece of driftwood that goes all around here, and what's really awesome is it's just covered in all this hair algae, and I think that looks just so cool. It's proper natural. Yeah, so I like that. I do have a sort of a spray bar at the back there, or a bubble air thing. I bought right at the very start of my fish keeping journey, and I've just sort of kept it in there. I quite like it. You know, it does no harm. It's just creating more surface agitation, so yeah, there's a benefit to it. As I was saying earlier about my cherry shrimps from the aquarium right at the very top there, a lot of the lower grade ones I tend to put in here. Now it's just going to be typical that I aren't going to be able to find any of them. Oh, there you go, there's one. actually looks pretty decent grade, that one. I might have to get him out. But yeah, they're all hiding at the back, I can guarantee you, or between all of that. There's a big load of Java moss that I've got in there, so they're probably hiding in there, right at the back. So again, if people are wondering, this thing in here is a diffuser right at the very back. That plastic thing there is a CO2 diffuser. It's one that came it's from JBL, a company called JBL. It's their Bio 160, I think it was, diffuser to their system. And yeah, the diffuser I had in here broke, and so I'm just using this one as a temporary measure. But I say that I actually have an air stone, but I just haven't got round to actually changing it over yet. But yeah, that's what that monstrosity in the back there is. But if you want to check out a review I did on that, I'll leave a link in the corner and in the description. So if I open the hood again with this aquarium, no fancy lighting, just a bright LED that came with the aquarium. I'd like to make the point to a lot of people starting out with planted aquariums that you don't need the really expensive RGB LEDs. I mean, you can use them and they will work, and naturally you're going to get a lot more benefits than you would, but if you're just beginning or starting out, most LEDs these days are more than bright enough, if sometimes too bright, and will give you great growth. And all of this has just been grown by that light, so yeah, it's not a problem. And as I said, there's the spray bar. It's catching all the duckweed in the corner, but that's actually not a bad thing because it's driving me crazy. I got one little piece of duckweed in here, and yeah, I spent my life trying to get it out. So, but if I made more of an effort, I could get it out, but I just, yeah, not really that fast. So moving on to these tanks here. So these are two different tanks that I just sort of stuck together and used again a 9 Crew classic LED light to light them. And these are both shrimp tanks. So this one is for my black shrimp there. There's blue neos in there, and some are just more of a darker black color. But yeah, they like to graze at the back there. I did a video on this what was it, last week or the week before, about adding these shrimp, and they're doing really well in there at the moment. The algae has sort of died off, but I'm hoping I can get it back to its full growth because it looked pretty awesome when there was loads of it in there. But yeah, this was I need to add some more botanicals as well actually, but yeah, the idea of this aquarium was to recreate sort of a habitat I saw on YouTube of shrimps in Asia. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was like a little riverbed, and it had lots of stones and driftwood, and there was lots of botanicals in it. And yeah, I would like to get some more sort of plants to you know, cover the surface. So I'm hoping this Amazon frog bit here is going to start to grow at some point, and yeah, start to cover the surface, because that would be awesome. And moving to the right, this was once my natural style Betta aquarium, but since then the Betta has unfortunately passed away. So again, I did a video on this, adding some more shrimp, and there is some orange sakura shrimp in there, and I bet it's gonna be typical that I can't find them either because they are hiding. But I love this aquarium. Again, it's one of my favorites. That little fella there, how he got in there, I'll never know. I saw him just appear one day as a really tiny little fry, so he must have came in with one plant, and I don't know if you can see it, but that plant there at the back was the only one I transferred from another aquarium. And yeah, he must have, the egg must have been stuck on underneath a leaf or something, but yeah, he's in there, so I just need to fish him out at some point. But yeah, he's doing no harm to the shrimp or anyone else. But yeah, that moss ball, or that load of Java moss there, sorry, is just covered in algae as well. I do really need to trim that down, and I'm thinking about maybe adding some more plants. I don't know yet, but yeah, again, natural habitat sort of I tried to recreate with this aquarium. As you can see, I'm getting some really nice substrate build up here as well. So this is all the breakdown of botanicals over time, and yeah, that's all fantastic to have in your aquarium. It's a natural thing that happens in the wild, and something that I like to try and recreate in my aquariums. And again, various botanicals, leaves, seed pods, alder cones, loads of different things. Oh, and there you can see one of my shrimp there. It's hiding. But they are so cool. Yeah, so I've got the oranges in there and some orange willies. So I'm hoping once they get breeding that there's going to be an amazing colony that can hide and grow within this botanical aquarium. I think it's just worth mentioning, as well as the light that I sort of share, that both aquariums are running just sponge filters in the back there, and yeah, they just do a great job with yeah, just sort of, you know, taking out any nasties in the water. So moving on up to my final aquarium. Just before we get there, if anyone who's wondering, this is a brine shrimp hatchery. It's again from a company called JBL, and just brewing up some brine shrimp to hopefully feed the shrimp. I think they'll probably be ready tomorrow. And if anyone's asking, this is banana that I'm going to be feeding my shrimp tanks later on this evening. So moving up, this is my Blue Dream Jungle aquarium. I released a video on this a couple of weeks ago. This is the Blue Dream shrimp, and thankfully on cue there is one of the blues. Looks quite dark in here, but yeah, just an update. That's the only survivor, unfortunately, of the batch that I got. I had some trouble with the shipment that came through. Unfortunately, it was a really cold day, and they got left in the depot, the shipping depot. So yeah, I think they were slightly late, and yeah, I think probably again shock. And maybe hindsight on my part, I should have acclimated them for longer, or taken a bit more care based on the journey that they had, because shrimp can be really sensitive. But yeah, I've got one for now, and I do plan on getting some more, but trying to source these shrimp in any kind of local fish store or around my area seems to be nearly impossible. So yeah, I'll keep hunting, but if not, I don't know, maybe I'll dare it again for online, but yeah, I'll leave it for now. But in terms of the aquarium, so it's been a few weeks since I you know, did a video on this as the build, and yes, it's doing really well. As you can see, the Java moss is starting to pick up nicely. The Java fern there, the jungle vallisneria is definitely starting to pick up. Around here you can see lots of new growth and stuff. And one thing I did do was buy some ember tetras, and they're so cool. But yeah, they're a little bit timid when you get near them. They tend to hide up in that corner, but yeah, they're really cool, and I'm hoping that they're going to do really well in this aquarium. In terms of lighting, again, this is just the standard one that came with this aquarium by All Pond Solutions. So yeah, just backstory on this aquarium. I won it in a competition, and All Pond Solutions sent me this aquarium, and yeah, the light and the actual filter, but yeah, I haven't used that yet. So this aquarium didn't come with a lid, and yeah, I tried to source one through All Pond Solutions, but they told me that these aquariums don't actually come with a lid, which for me, I like to have something on top, just to try and address the amount of water that you tend to lose with humidity and stuff. So I bought a piece of this plastic, it's quite popular, it's drip tray stuff, off Amazon. Just cut a little piece, and yeah, it seems to be working a treat right now. And if anyone's asking what that is in the back, that metal thing there, that is a mist maker. So when you turn that on, and if I took that lid off, you'd see loads of fog appear. If you can see them small bubbles there, that is again CO2 that I'm using. This is an old CO2 kit that I had from JBL, the Bio 80. So that's that bottle in the back there. It's just a little plastic bottle with some solution, and yeah, it just naturally pushes CO2 into the aquarium. Yeah, probably not enough to do any damage, but I have plenty of surface agitation from that sponge filter behind the big stone head there, to yeah, try and keep control of it. But yeah, it's doing really well at the moment. I'm really happy with it. I did originally in the build video put some cryptocorin and some boost in there, but the crypts melted and so did the boost, so you can see the roots to one of them, the boost, but I haven't seen any more growth yet. But I think there's probably a little couple of sprouts there, but yeah, in terms of the actual crypts, they were all planted in the back and I haven't seen anything yet, but it's only been a couple of weeks, so I'm not worried at all. In terms of plants that are currently in there, so you've got the Java moss, Java fern, jungle vallisneria, which is the stringy one at the back there, algae here, and that is a Anubias Nano Petite, which I need to trim because some of the leaves, the bottom leaves, have died off, and I think there's another piece of Anubias there. So yeah, that was it, fish tank tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd just like to point out that some products that you might have seen that I mentioned in the video may have come from sponsors and stuff. It's all really good, and I really appreciate the support from sponsors and that. Yeah, so if you're interested in any of them, check some of the video reviews that I did out. I hope you liked this video of my tour of my aquariums. Like I said, I had quite a few people ask for it, so hopefully it's you know, it's delivered in terms of what you wanted to see from it. I always wonder, like with aquariums, what people actually want to see from them, so I hope I haven't rambled too much there, but yeah, it's hopefully all good. Yeah, and I hope you liked it. So if you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think of the aquariums in the comments below. And if you could, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I put out weekly videos on all my fish keeping antics. I've got some really good videos on the way, some different reviews and some other bits and pieces that I'm working on. So there's hopefully something for you to look forward to in the next coming weeks. And until next time, you stay safe.